What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So, we have a very special video today, you guys. I have yet another challenge from none other than Supersetman himself. This is another installment of the Supersetman challenge. Now, for those of you not familiar with the Supersetman challenge, every so often, myself and other fellow YouTubers are issued a challenge by none other than Supersetman himself. In this particular challenge, he's asked us to critique the presumed top 5 at the 2024 Olympia, being Andrew Jack, Hadi Choopan, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, and Samson Dauda, and all of them considered to be at their best between the 2023 and 2024 season. I'm sure all you guys will recognize these versions of these physiques. You'll get a video from myself, Goat Fitness, Marks Max Muscle, Desktop Bodybuilding, Bodybuilding News Network, Jake Ultimate Fitness, Project Bodybuilding. You guys, the list goes on and on here. So it's time to get into the video. Let's see who I have reigning supreme at the 2024 Olympia. In the front double bicep, I think that you've got two guys that have very, very strong front double biceps here. Andrew Jack obviously stands out, but Hadi Choopan stands out as well. I think the midsection on Hadi Choopan combined with those quads, you know, just the quad flare in particular, the detail in the quads, I really think that it gives him probably the best balance of any of these guys in the front double bicep. But again, my eyes do go to Andrew Jack as well. The flow, the conditioning, and this is the 2024 Texas Pro, Andrew, as you can see on the screen. It really is just next level, you guys. This guy stepped it up so much more at this Texas Pro. It's almost unbelievable the progress that he made in such a short amount of time, relatively speaking. Now, you cannot discount Nick Walker in this pose as well. This is a very strong pose for Nick. He does have that quad detail, but I don't think that he has the sweep in the quads in particular to hang with Hadi or Andrew in this. Samson, I think, does have good balance from top to bottom, decent conditioning, decent quad detail. The bicep and tricep, I think, could have more separation. And honestly, I always thought Derek was pretty good in the front double, but in this pose in particular, I mean, Derek is in last place, you guys. I gotta call it like it is. Now, if I had to put it in order here, I would say Andrew Jack takes this pose. I just like Andrew overall in this pose. Second, I would give to Hadi Choopan. Third, I would give to Nick Walker. Fourth goes to Samson Dauda. And fifth goes to Derek Lunsford. Now, the front lat spread, I mean, this is another one where I don't know if it's just the overwhelming size of Andrew Jack based on how tall he actually is, and I don't know how accurate this actually is either in terms of the heighting, but I mean, my eyes go to Andrew once again. He's very wide across the shoulders. The lats do pop out a lot in this pose. The quads, the balance from top to bottom, again, a very, very strong pose for Andrew Jack. My eyes, again, from there, go to Hadi Choopan. I mean, same thing. The width across the shoulders. I mean, the chest is really popping here. The quad detail. I wish Hadi was actually hitting it a little bit more conventional so we could do a proper comparison. But again, I would say it's between Andrew Jack and Hadi Choopan. This was always Nick Walker's worst pose. We may as well just put that out there, you guys. So, I mean, it's hard to pick between third, fourth, and fifth when it comes to Samson, Nick, and Derek. Yeah, I would say that this one is a little bit easier to call than the front double. Honestly, I would give this one to Andrew Jack again. Second place, I would give to Hadi Choopan. I would say in third place, I think Samson takes third place on this one. I think that the width across the shoulders, the balance from top to bottom, I just think that he's executing it better than both Derek and Nick as well. So I would say third place in this pose would be Samson. Fourth place, I want to give it to Nick, just based on the quad detail. Even though Nick is terrible at hitting this pose, you know, we got to call it like it is, you guys. He really just doesn't execute it very well. But I think Derek lacks such detail in this pose. I mean, look at the quads. They're completely washed out. We know that the lighting was not great at the 2023 Olympia, but regardless of that, I really think that Nick's chest popping out more than Derek's as well really gives him the edge here. So just to recap this pose, another pose, in my eyes, goes to Andrew Jack. Second, I would give to Hadi Choopan. Third goes to Samson Dauda. Fourth, Nick Walker. And fifth goes to our current reigning Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford. And this is the second pose where I had Derek in last place. Let's see if he can make up some ground. So, the side chest. This is where things get a little bit more competitive amongst these 5 competitors. Andrew Jack, as we've been talking about him a lot here, you guys, he's just not big enough to really fill out this side pose. He needs more thickness in the quads. He needs more thickness in the arms especially. Shoulders and chest, I actually think he holds his own very well against these guys. part of it could be a posing execution thing for Andrew as well. I do think that he could be bending at the knee just a little bit more, not much more, but a little bit. I think if he tucked his arm into his torso more, that it would give him the illusion of more size in the arm as well. Maybe not have that elbow back so far, but anyway, regardless of Andrew, I think that Hadi Choopan, fills out this pose very well. The balance between the shoulders and the arms here, the overall flow between the upper and lower body, the chest, Hadi is very, very thick in this pose. Nick Walker certainly can't be discounted in this pose either. But when you look at Nick compared to these other guys, typically Nick has a great side leg, when he actually hits this shot in a lineup. But in this one, I would say that everybody else might be taking Nick in the side leg. Even Derek in this one looks like he's had more detail in that side leg. So this is a difficult one to call. You got to look at the upper body here. So I would say that Hadi probably takes the win in this pose in particular. Samson also has a very, very good upper body in this pose. I think the chest is good. The balance between upper and lower is good as well. The conditioning is good. But, aside from Hadi taking this one home, this is kind of a tough one for me to call. But if I had to call it one way, I would say that Hadi takes this pose. Second place, I actually want to give it to Samson Dauda, to be completely honest. And this could be completely different when these guys actually stand next to each other. But the conditioning of Andrew Jack actually is fantastic. Third place, I actually do want to give it to Andrew Jack compared to Nick Walker even, you guys. So that's a big surprise on my end of things when you actually look at this comparison. Third place, I want to give it to Andrew, so I'm actually gonna. Fourth place, I think goes to Nick Walker, which is a huge surprise for me. And fifth place, again, you guys, I gotta give it to Derek Lunsford. I think he is the least impressive of all of these guys in this pose. So far we have 2 shots for Andrew, 1 shot for Hadi. Let's keep it going. The back double bicep, one of my favorite poses, you guys. And you know what? All of these guys hold up very, very well in this pose. And this is where we can see our current Mr. Olympia gaining some ground. Derek Lunsford is so strong in this pose. This is a Derek Lunsford pose, you guys. If there's anything that he's going to win when it comes to these comparisons, it will be the back double bicep. But when you look at all of these guys, there's a lot of detail that you see from pretty much everybody here. Even Samson Dauda, I think, holds his own in the upper body in this pose. Now, the lower body is where Samson does end up losing some ground to these guys. He doesn't have the greatest conditioning. You just don't see that detail. You look at Andrew Jack, though, and he did gain some detail in the lower body compared to the last time that we saw him on stage. And compared to all these guys, it's really not that bad. It didn't look great at the Texas Pro because you had guys like Jordan Hutchinson and Nathan Epler that had insane detail in that lower body. So you got to give Andrew some credit here. Upper body, there's also a lot of detail. I think that even though his arms did grow, when it comes to overall balance, you really see the difference between someone like Nick Walker and Hadi Choopan, even Derek Lunsford when it comes to overall balance from, upper to lower body. I think that it really is going to go, you guys, this is a little bit of a tougher one for me. Hadi does seem to have just a little bit more detail in the upper body. I think that Derek you could give the lower body to, but honestly, I really do like Hadi Choopan in this pose. I think he has just a little bit more width than Nick Walker does, but Nick is very, very strong in this pose. Extremely detailed, tons of conditioning, especially the lower body. So look, I'm going to have to give this one to Hadi Choopan. Second place goes to Nick Walker. Third place, I am going to give it to Derek Lunsford. And I know that a lot of people will probably argue with me on that one, that he deserves to be higher, but I'm going to give Derek third on that one. Fourth place, I'm giving to Andrew Jack, and fifth place goes to Samson Dauda. Now, the back lat spread. This is one that's also very interesting. Look at the width. Look at the width on Derek Lunsford, our current Mr. Olympia, you guys. That is an extreme amount of width here. Maybe not as much detail as what you would see from even Andrew Jack here, but it really is a very impressive pose from top to bottom for our current Mr. Olympia. Hadi also has a lot of good points in this pose as well. I really like the width on Hadi, from the shoulder thickness especially. He's got good detail in the lower body. The overall execution is really good as well. And again, Andrew Jack. Andrew did really improve this pose. He's got a lot of depth in this pose. The lower body, again, a lot more detail than the last time we saw him. Nick Walker. I'm actually surprised that Nick is not doing a little bit better in this pose, to be honest, you guys. He's got a lot of width, and I think New York was a very good look for him. The lower body, Nick is probably beating all of these guys. Even though Derek has the more striated glutes, I think that Nick's ripped hamstrings really are just giving him the edge. Samson, decent amount of detail, but I think the lower body again is failing Samson here. So you guys, this is a tough one for me to call, but I really do think that when it comes to overall width and overall detail, you know, you got to give this one to our current Mr. Olympia. So I'm going to give this one to Derek Lunsford. I'll go Derek, Hadi, Nick, and then I'm going to say Andrew Jack, and then Samson Dauda. Side tricep. What an excellent pose for all of these guys, really. You see a lot more detail from Derek Lunsford in the upper body in this pose in particular than I think you did in some of the other shots that really accentuate the front here. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way. All of you heard Tyler Mannion last year at the Texas Pro. It is no longer a front tricep shot. You will be marked down from hitting a front tricep. So Andrew Jack, I'm sorry, I got to take out of the equation based on the fact that he's hitting a front tricep here. He's going to be in last, and that really, really bothers me, but it's what I have to do based on the judging. Nick Walker, I think, takes this pose pretty handily. I mean, Nick, just the ab detail especially, really, really good for Nick. I always enjoyed Nick in this pose. I would say Hadi is right behind him there. Then I'm going to put Derek Lunsford, and after that, I'm going to put Samson Dauda. So in order, I would have Nick Walker, Hadi Chupin, Derek Lunsford, Samson Dauda, and Andrew. You're killing me, man. You got to go with Andrew in fifth here. Abs and thigh, it is not even a question here. Andrew Jack wins this pose. It's a done deal. Let's just get that out of the way right away. He has the best abs and thigh, maybe in the history of bodybuilding, you guys. It's not one that I was really expecting, but you know, Nick Walker, compared to all of these guys, really does have a great abs and thigh. And this is a guy that's typically really marked down for his midsection, or at least criticized for his midsection. I don't know about marked down on the judges' score sheets, but Hadi Chupin cannot be ignored in this either. The midsection detail, absolutely fantastic. The quad detail, it might not be great when it comes to the screenshot here, but Hadi has probably the second best set of abs in the IFBB, honestly, when it comes to the open division anyway. So I would give this one Andrew Jack, then I would go Hadi Chupin, Nick Walker. I would say after that, since Derek isn't actually hitting the vacuum here, even though I know he has been known to hit the vacuum in this shot, I'm going to go with Derek Lunsford in fourth, and Samson Dauda, I just don't think has that impressive of an abs and thigh. So fifth place is going to go to Samson Dauda. The most muscular. I think this is actually my favorite pose in all of bodybuilding. Now, my eyes really go to Hadi Chupin right away in this pose. He just really fills this pose out very well. He's got the arms, he's got the quads, the chest striations, the shoulder striations. This is a Hadi Chupin pose. He was made for this pose. This is Nick Walker's pose as well. You got to give at least second place to Nick. I actually, part of me wants to give it to him, but Hadi, I think, is just a little bit sharper, so I'm going to give first place to Hadi. Second place, I'm giving to Nick Walker in this pose. After that, if Andrew Jack's just really, I don't know, you guys, I want to be able to score Andrew in third place here. I really do. And actually, you know what? I think I'm actually gonna. The conditioning of Andrew and the balance from top to bottom, although it is a most muscular, and you look at Samson Dauda and Derek Lunsford that are hitting, you know, the hands class most muscular, it does look impressive, especially Derek's delts here. But I don't know, there's just something about the overall aesthetic flow of Andrew Jack that cannot be ignored. So I've got to give third place to Andrew Jack here. Fourth place, I would actually give to Derek Lunsford. I think that Derek's shoulders and arms are really popping here. He does need more overall detail, and he better show up to the 2024 Olympia absolutely peeled, or clearly based on this comparison, it's going to cost him. Fourth place, like I said, I'm going to give to Derek Lunsford, and fifth place in this pose goes to Samson Dauda. So let's add them all up here, you guys. First place in the front double bicep, Andrew Jack. Front lat spread goes to Andrew Jack. Side chest, that's going to go to Hadi Chupin. Back double bicep, Hadi Chupin. Got to give it to him. Back lat spread, that's going to go to Derek Lunsford. Side tricep, that's going to go to Nick Walker. The abs and thigh, Andrew Jack. All day long, no question. And the most muscular, I'm giving it to Hadi Chupin. So based on what we're seeing here, you guys, I think that this could be a tie between Andrew Jack and Hadi Chupin. This is a very, very tough one to call. Who do I think will actually end up coming out on top here? Well, when it comes to the Olympia stage, I think it's going to end up being Hadi Chupin. But look, this is my take on the Supersetman challenge. I would say that Andrew Jacked, based on this comparison, could be as high as second place, you guys. Now, we will have guys that show up improved. I think all of these guys are going to be improved. But based on the Supersetman challenge, this is how I see it. I think Derek Lunsford would take third, Nick Walker would take fourth, and fifth place would be Samson Dauda. So, a very, very interesting challenge. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys make sure you go and check out all the other Supersetman challenges. You let me know in the comments below how you would have scored this Supersetman challenge. And you know what? I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about it. Thank you again to Supersetman for including me in this challenge. I always enjoy doing these challenges. Can't wait for the next one. And you guys, like I said, let me know in the comments below where you have these guys in your top 5. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning into EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.